Hi, today I want to take a quick look at this. This is a Boogie Board electronic notepad. Now, I saw this a while ago and I was a little bit curious as to sort of how it worked. Basically the idea is it's just a sort of notepad where you can sort of write things on it and then when you're done erase it. So it's sort of basically like a somewhat complicated but reusable piece of paper. Apparently this is based on a bistable LCD technology, sort of not dissimilar to the sort of thing that's used in e-readers, but instead of being electrically activated, it's activated purely by the pressure from the stylus. There's nothing special about this stylus, and any sort of pressure will do it. You just need something that's got a reasonably sharp point on it. And the only sort of electrical function is just to bulk erase all of it. This is the small sort of 4-inch version. There's an 8.5-inch version, which probably makes a little bit more sense. I mean, unless you've got very small tidy writing, this point is possibly a little bit on the big side. The actual resolution is not too bad in terms of detail, but obviously you need to be able to write, so you put it on something a little bit smaller. I think the actual size of the dot is limited by the flexing of this front cover, because obviously this needs to flex in order to put pressure on the material inside. There's also a version called the Sync, which allows you to sort of write things on it and then download it. Now, from what I can see, I'm pretty certain that what they've done on that is they're not actually reading back the LCD stuff. What they're doing, they've actually put a touchscreen over the top of it. So all they're doing is whenever you write on it, you get the this LCD thing, but also it's digitizing it to a touchpad, possibly at slightly less resolution to download it. So that's a bit of a, I think it's a bit of a sort of cheat, and that's quite expensive. I think it's becoming certainly not particularly attractive compared to just an ordinary sort of tablet type device. But so this one's, I'm not really sure how useful it is, and maybe you could do quite a little thing with maybe a little robot arm that sort of perhaps writes the time on it once a minute and then sort of erases it. But say not especially useful. So let's take a look at this. This edges are, I already had this apart once, so this edge is already a bit peeled. This is stuck together. The battery is non-replaceable. I think they say it's rated at about 50,000 erases. The only time it takes power is when it's doing this erase. They rate it for about 50,000. Or this, the pen just clicks on the side so you don't lose it. Sort of clips on there. And so the only way to open this up really is to peel this plastic off. It looks like I might have actually split the display now. I think this is actually forms part of the actual functional material. Yeah, so it's well, if it wasn't lacquer before, it is now. I think actually this is meant to stick down there and then the rest of it peels off. I think because I've had this apart once, the wrong bits come unstuck now. You can just see one wire going down the side of here. So I have had this apart, but it was quite a long time ago, so I can't remember the details of exactly what's where. Okay, so we've got a little board there with a chip on it, and 2 wires coming out the side and the push button, and a little lithium battery that's soldered in. That just goes down to here. That's looks a PCB on here, which I'm sure is just for making contact. Yeah, so you can see there's a contact on there. Yeah, in fact, the other contact makes contact on this top film, so we've delaminated this and pretty much knackered it. But let's take a look at what this little board's doing. Right, taking a closer look at this PCB, there's not really much on it. There's this chip from Solomon, SPD 1631. I can't find any data at all on that. It's going to either be a custom chip or something they've maybe adapted for this application. There's these, which I'm guessing are probably test connections. and it's possible that might have some intelligence, be some sort of micro, and that's some sort of programming interface, but this thing seems so simple that yeah, it's hard to tell really. And here, down here you can see what's clearly a boost regulator. You've got a switching transistor, an inductor up to the positive supply, then a diode to produce the output, so this is clearly boosting the 3 volt battery up to some higher voltage. And then we've got these 2 output connections, so let's whack the scope on there and see what comes out. Right, if we push the button, see we get a fairly simple waveform, quite a high voltage. This is 35 volts and this is about 20 volts. And as you'd expect for this sort of thing, you see alternating polarities. This bottom trace is the difference between these two waveforms. So we get sort of a 35 volt pulse in one direction, then in the opposite direction, and then 2 short pulses. So I'm guessing this is sort of to get the most of the erase functionality, and these are just to sort of perhaps get the threshold, the pressure threshold to a slightly lower level or something, obviously without knowing too much about the chemistry on this. It's hard to tell, but I'm guessing that's sort of basically what's going on there, and that's all it does. So, so I'm not really sure whether that chip would be a custom thing or maybe some sort of very simple micro that's got a boost. All it's got is the boost regulator functionality. Obviously it's capable of doing 2 different voltages, so it's going to have some sort of voltage setting capability plus the ability to switch that output across those 2 pins, probably just with an H-bridge type arrangement on the output, but yeah, pretty straightforward. That seems pretty knackered. I've just connected it up to the signal generator. You can see a sort of very vague change on that, but it's pretty dead now. So I'm not really sure what you could really do with this. Maybe I think before I killed it, I was actually able to sort of electrically flip it completely to one state, from one state to another. So I suppose if you've got a big pile of these cheap, you might be able to make some sort of pixel display out of it. But because you need the mechanical actuation, I don't think there's really a great deal of interest. So it's sort of a vaguely interesting little toy, but I'm not really sure there's really much point to it. Maybe this is just a spin-off from their LCD tech that they thought might work as a product, but I can't say I'm convinced.